Johnny, welcome back to your podcast. It's another great day to be here with you. Are you doing well today?
I'm doing really well, man. Are you this time of year we're getting close to the Christmas season. Isn't that weird to
Yes,
think about?
I
I don't know.
know it. I know it.
I do a
Thanksgiving.
Christmas countdown with my kids. I love Christmas, so it starts like the day after Christmas. But there's this website you're like, how many days till Christmas? So we do our Bible scripture. I'll send out every day in our family chat,
Awesome.
and then countdown to Christmas. So it starts at like
That's great.
365 days, and then we're way down into getting closer and closer. And it's
Love it.
just it's funny. They think I'm so stupid because we're sending out Christmas texts in February, but I love the Christmas season and stuff and Thanksgiving and all that. So we
Yeah,
are rolling right up on it.
I love it. It's one of my favorite times of year, man.
As a matter of fact,
Um,
I convinced my wife to decorate because we usually go out of town for just me and her a little getaway
yeah.
before Thanksgiving for like a week somewhere. And so she's like, well, because we get back and it's so late, I guess we'll just start decorating the house like right after Halloween's over, 1st of November. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
love that, baby.
let's do it. She does phenomenal stuff. So,
That's great. I
um,
love it.
so
Well,
yeah.
that's a good transition. Phenomenal stuff. And thinking about Christmas, um, we're in this series of annuities. We've talked about a lot of stuff, and I think one of the neatest things about annuities, when structured properly and everything, is they have what we refer to as upside participation and downside protection. Unpack that and explain that aspect of an annuity because it's very unique and very
So
cool.
this is unique to what's called fixed indexed annuities. This is unique to that.
Okay.
Several weeks ago, we talked about variable multi-year guarantee or fixed annuities and fixed index annuities. So once
Okay.
again, variable can vary up and down. Fixed, traditional fixed or multi-year guarantees are this is the interest rate we give you for this amount of time. It's not
Okay.
changing. A fixed index annuity is where we get into that feature that's kind of in between the both. All right. You can make a higher percent than a traditional fixed annuity will offer you. Not quite as high as a variable because the variable is
Hmm.
tied into the market, but you have the protection that the variable annuity doesn't offer you, you know. So you can never lose. So what I mean by that is there's different index strategies. So when it says fixed indexed annuity, it's because they're tied to index strategies.
Okay.
Once again, like the S&P 500 index. Okay. So if you have a fixed indexed annuity and there's a whole multitude, each product has different indexes available, but they all have the S&P 500, most of them, 90 some odd percent of them, as an index you can choose.
Right.
So you put your $110,000 into this annuity, fixed index annuity. We're not talking about any riders or anything. It's just a fixed index annuity. I want my money to be safe, Johnny, but I'd like to have some potential growth in this as well. Okay, so we go 100,000 to a fixed index annuity. We like to use the S&P index account to mirror.
Okay.
So you could pick as many as you want, but in this particular example, we'll use the S&P. So you participate in the growth of that S&P index from one year to the next. So
Okay.
so say December 1st of 2025, I put $100,000 into this annuity. We're going to use the index of the S&P to
Okay.
monitor the growth of it. So we look from December 1st of 2025 all the way to December 1st of 2026. What was the growth of the S&P?
Okay.
So if the S&P was worth 6,000 on December 1st of 25 and December 1st of 2026, it's worth 6,600. That's 10% growth. Now, when I got my annuity, it told me in there that your cap rate that you can participate up to, we'll say 8%.
Okay.
So if the S&P goes up to 8%, you get 8%. All right. If it goes up 10, you get 8%. All right.
Okay.
So that's how it works. So now I've added my 8% to that. Next year, it's December 2026. I have $108,000 because I got 8% credited, right?
Right. Right.
So we know the S&P was at 6,600. Over the next 12 months, it drops back down to 6,000.
Mm.
So what happens to my annuity? I'm still at $108,000
Because it locks in,
because
right?
it's locked in at that year,
Got
and
it.
now I'm protected from any loss.
Wow.
Now the next year, the S&P's at 6,000. If it grows back up to 6,500, then I add that 8% or whatever on my 108. So it's a annual reset, and you participate in the growth with protection from downside loss.
Okay.
Okay?
Huh.
Because I want you to compare someone that just has the money invested in the S&P.
Okay.
So apples to apples. I got 100,000 in the annuity. After 1 year, I've got 108 because I got 8%.
Right.
This guy over here is 100,000. He's got 110 because he got the full 10%.
Right.
108, 110. The next year, this guy's going to lose 10% of his money because he's got 110 and the
Right.
S&P went down by 10%. So 10% of that is about 11,000 bucks.
Right. Ballpark.
He's down back down to 100. I'm at 108. So the next year, this guy's going to go back up to 110 because he's going to get 10%,
Right.
but I'm going to get my 8% from 108.
Okay.
So that's 9,000 bucks. So now I'm at 115.
Yeah.
So over the course of the period, that's how these can uh, be really solid to protect your money from loss,
Right.
but still perform well. It's kind of like now this guy may make 30% 1 year. I'll still get my eight, but I'm always protected from that downside
Right.
loss because as I get older, and say I'm 73 and I've got $130,000, I can't afford to lose 30 grand if there's a big dip.
Right. And that's one of the big kickers there is
You know what I
is
mean? That's why you do this
yeah.
is because of that mindset. You know,
Right. And we've talked about in other episodes how in the younger years of life you're accumulating resources. In retirement, you're really preserving and distributing resources, and you need to do it very methodically. You can't afford to lose that much money when you're in retirement. And that's where this strategy and this vehicle called an annuity is just absolutely rock solid because it locks in your gains every year, protects you from any losses, and it brings that peace of mind that you just can't get really very many other places, right?
exactly. And the way you look at these and the honest approach, if we use the S&P, because of the ups and downs and years where you may not make anything, but you don't lose anything, you're going to get an average return over 10 or 12 years of anywhere between 4 to 6%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's kind of because some years you won't make anything. Some years you might
Right.
only make 2% if it's only up to or whatever. But that's kind of how those work. All right. So that's got to be your mindset going into this. But it's safe, it's positive growth. You're never going to go backwards because eventually you're going to have to start taking distributions out of those funds.
Right.
And you don't want to take money out of an account that also can lose money at the same time.
That's right. That's
Uh,
really bad. That's
That's
a double
that's
whammy.
that's a double whammy. Whereas this here, I can take money out knowing that's not going to lose any money and get some of my growth back on that side. Now, on top of all that, I'll use one other cool thing that a lot of these new companies or not companies are offering that's kind of a neat feature now is they have what's called a trigger.
Hmm.
So remember, my cap is 8% on this.
Right.
A trigger just means there's something that triggers a growth. And so a trigger means if the S&P is up anything, 0.001. So from December 1st to 25 to December 1st to 2026, the trigger says instead of giving you 8%, you get 6.25. So as long as the S&P is up anything, we're giving you 6.25. But that's your
Hmm.
cap.
Okay.
So if the S&P is up 8, you still get 6.25.
Okay.
But what is cool about that is those years where it only is up 1%, 0.1,
Yeah.
3%, you're going to get that 6.25%.
Interesting. Very interesting.
There's ways you can actually divide it up 50% this way, 50% that way, where you could beat the returns on the years where the S&P growth is slower, and then you can participate for a good portion on the years that it's better. If you look
Yeah.
back historically over the last 20 years and you look at what is the S&P growth with inflation, it's just about 7 to 8%.
Yeah. Overall.
That's what it is over the last 20 years,
Yeah.
if you look at it. So when you're talking about protection from downturn during your retirement years, that you're going to get that 4 to 6%. You're pretty close to that without any stress of loss. Because if the loss happens at the wrong stage in your life,
Yeah,
it will destroy your retirement plan.
that's right. That's
So
right.
that's why these vehicles can be very important to people. And there's features within each of them that once again can be catered to what your goals are, right?
Yep.
So that's kind of how they work in a nutshell. So there's really cool things when you dig deep and when we meet with people to say, hey, this is how a strategy that works like this. No matter what strategy you use, whether it's the S&P or these other indexes, they all have the same concept. I never will go backwards,
Right. And I
right?
think, yeah, I
Never
think
will go backwards.
that's what people need to understand is these things don't allow you to go backwards. They've got a stopgap thing. It's upside participation with downside protection. And it's a fixed indexed annuity. When you reach out to Johnny, have that conversation. Ask about how that might fit into your retirement plan. They're not for everybody, but they're really a neat vehicle that Johnny can talk to you about as you talk with him about creating a retirement plan. So you can retire at new heights. If you just go to retireatnewheights.com, you can get a copy of Johnny's best-selling book. You can schedule a call with him, have a conversation, and start talking about all of these different strategies and vehicles that you need to be considering to see, hey, this is what I have now, what can I do with it? So go check him out,
Absolutely.
retireatnewheights.com.
Love
And
to hear from you.
all right, Johnny, I look forward to our next conversation. Thanks for this mini series on annuities.
Yes, sir.